1. I'm not much of a love poet, but if my English teacher gave me an assignment to write a love poem to you, I'd write about how the sweet honey of your voice makes my tongue feel like pop rocks, how you make me want to spit stanzas like Jay-Z spits verses, how your words are like blueprints for my own creations, how every time I hear you speak, I build another foundation. I'm not much of a love poet, but if I was, I'd tell you that it takes a whole lot to fully captivate a classroom of high schoolers, and it takes even more to get them to do extra work. And somehow, you've done both. Managed to get football players to pay attention to poetry, and impatient seniors to pause long enough to listen, and juniors who are suffocating under schoolwork to breathe life into words, all just to ask you to come here. I'm not much of a love poet, but if I was, I'd tell you that most of us don't even write love poems to our boyfriends and girlfriends. So consider yourself lucky, or consider yourself loved.
2. To the poet we found on YouTube.
To the poet the cowboy in our class has a surprising fondness for.
To the poet I stopped taking a BuzzFeed quiz to listen to. I still don't know what dog breed I am.
To the poet who captured 28 seniors' attention for 2 minutes and 39 seconds, which is longer than any teacher has managed yet this semester.
To the poet with a penchant for sweaters and hyperboles.
To the poet who opened up a dialogue about sexism in our first period class. Well, dialogue is a euphemism.
To the poet who was murdered and resurrected in a boy's poem meant to showcase sound devices.
You have a hero to thank.
You have a meninist to educate.
You have at least one more sweater to show off.
You have our attention.
You have a fan to meet.
3. You were floating with the brightest, sweetest helium spell that we'd never had the chance to witness. And for a few minutes, we weren't floundering anymore. We were hovering on your helium balloon.
4. We like coffee. A lot.
We walk in the rain without umbrellas.
Sunroofs back in 58-degree weather.
Warm rain and cold hearts. We long for the days it gets over 65.
Never having enough parking.
Sophomores taking spots that aren't theirs.
Teachers overloading us with homework, adding to our anxiety.
We dream of the day we walk across that stage and get our diploma.
5. Olympia, I try to avoid codependent relationships, but you and I are intertwined. It took 18 years for your evergreen fingers to sculpt me, but I think you succeeded because my veins are filled with the salt of the Puget Sound. My bones are bumpy with barnacles and my brain is a sea anemone. You make having to describe where I live as not Washington, D.C., Washington State, kind of near Seattle, but yes, we actually are the capital, not Seattle, all worth it. The city where walls are covered in tree paintings instead of graffiti, and children join Peace Scouts before Boy Scouts, and rainbow flags dot used bookstores, and kids attend rallies before they can walk. You are different. And there must be magic in your hands because you showed me how to love.
6. Every English teacher I've ever had has been white.
Every English class I've ever had reads books like Great Expectations and Gatsby.
Every teacher bites their lip.
And admits they're not right to teach the great Zora Neale Hurston.
Or mumbles their way through Langston, but the only hues in our standard curriculum start at ivory and end at warm beige.
Most of us think poetry's boring.
Winding descriptions, words you could fall asleep to.
Digging for meaning in books written so long ago, it's like you're digging up their graves.
English is the only opportunity for creative expression in core classes.
But we let creative expression be measured by letter grade.
Like the Pritchard scale, before Robin Williams saves the day.
Poetry.
Taught like a formula.
Like AB rhymes with CD and count the syllables.
We've learned English in dull shades of gray.
Until you, Rudy.
You speak in Technicolor.
And don't shy away from the music that makes words fly like sparks off the page.
Breathing fire into your audience. The letters not stagnant, small, insignificant like they're written on the page.
But dancing, screaming to be noticed.
Like what's locked inside the black and white writing.
Rudy, we're ready to learn in color.
7. The following are real scenarios. At least one of the kids in your first period class is homeless. 6 of them need the free lunch thing for school. It's the only food they know for sure they'll get today. 3 of them are cherishing their high school education because once they graduate, they're too far below the poverty line to even dream of going to college.
When your day is an exhibition of little misfortunes from outside forces beyond your control, when you find yourself drowning in the rapids of, this is so hard, when it feels like your precious God has abandoned your plight in your time of need, like your guardian angel is a bumbling fool who can't watch you because he's too busy getting his wings unstuck from a spider web, when you get sucker punched in the ego by a fistful of, no, I won't buy you the new water bottle. Remember that every year 2 million people die of dehydration, so it doesn't matter if the glass is half full or half empty. There's water in the cup. Drink it and stop complaining.
I was told the average parent starts planning their child's high school graduation at their 5th birthday. But the parents know how their child will accept their diploma by the way they take the crayons from a box. They know the way they walk the aisle by their 10th birthday, how they strut in their new shoes. By 13, they have a cap style and gown, and their best friend has worked out their problems by 17. They're waiting for the grades that don't drop to 22% at the sound of a party address, a class that'll turn a ceremony into a party, an administration who's ready for the long year of pranks and senioritis to be over. We'll send them off like it's their last class to leave.
I imagine that my dreams will touch the ground like our fallen cats, fortuitous as we walk into the next shining decade. I imagine the ecstasy of the end. One final step as a child is the first steps into adulthood.
9. If you were to look at our school, you would find that it is a blank page. A blank page covered in potential
and boredom.
We sit in classes to further our education. We live to make it to the end of this year. Nothing happens on blank pages. But what if you were to come here, you would make us bestsellers. Books filled with poems, inspiration, and we would be interesting. But for now, we are pages trying to become books.
10, we're a blank page.
10, let us terrify you.
10, it rains.
10 and rains.
10 and rains and rains and rains.
10, 1,850.
10, 1,850 stepped in hallways too narrow.
10, go Bears.
10, trekking through linoleum every day of the week.
10, don't we need a little poetry?
10, don't we need a little Rudy Francisco?